The most challenging moments of my life have always sparked change for personal growth. And it's only when I realized how finite life is that I started living it on my own terms. So let me ask you this. Are you spending every day of your life doing what you love? Are you fully present? Are you doing what you're meant to be doing? Because many of us aren't, and we're not even aware of it. We often live on autopilot, dictated by routines and expectations set by others, but not by ourselves. And this lack of awareness leads us to unconsciously waste our precious time we have here on earth. Because we focus on what others are doing, losing touch with our own lives, as if we're living someone else's story. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, is this life truly mine? It's easy to follow a path laid out by others. We go to school, we get a job, and we retire. And if you want to live this life, that's fine. But I couldn't bear it. I instead constantly ask myself, does this path resonate with who I am? Does it align with my deepest values and aspirations? And it's only when I started asking myself these questions that I noticed how stuck I was. Now, before we dive into the next part, I want to make something very clear. Because this video isn't for people who have a job that they love or that they like, but it's for the people that are doing something that they can't bear. And the reason I'm creating this entire video is because I wished I had someone to guide me a couple of years ago. Because I was feeling completely alone in my decision to take a risk. Now, no one around me had done so before, and no one around me could support me even if they wanted to. Now, I want you to know that there is nothing wrong with working a job that you like or love. There's honor in working a job because we need it to make a living. And if you haven't saved up money yet, don't just risk everything. You need to learn the skills on the side that will help you transition into starting to do what you love. But what I don't recommend is working a job that you don't like for the rest of your life. Now, to start using the principles that I will share with you in this video, we first have to understand how our time in life is divided. Because it's only when you truly understand the following principle that you will want to change things around. So have you ever asked yourself why it can feel like time is passing by so quickly? Now, this sensation isn't rare, and there was a period in my life where I felt like this. But now for years, I've been extremely focused on crafting a life where it feels like time just doesn't slip away. And this is what enabled me to travel the world and do what I love every single day. And it took understanding the following principle to truly change. It's what sparked me into implementing the techniques that I will share with you later on in this video. So as I said, we often feel like there is never enough time. Days, months and years pass, and sometimes it feels like we're stuck, like we're not moving forward. And it reminded me of something crazy that I found a couple of years ago. So let me explain it to you. So did you know that the average person spends about 79 years on Earth? And if we represented each year of our life with a Smartie in the jar, we can now see how we use up our years. So a big chunk goes to sleeping, about 26 years. And that's a third of our life. Now add to that the years that we spend just trying to fall asleep. This is vital, but it's a lot of time, isn't it? And then there is work. On average, we spend around 13 years of our life working. And then add to that the hours that we spend caught up in screens, around 11 years as well. But here's the catch. This doesn't even include school time, exercising, or eating. And after accounting for everything, we're left with barely over 8 years to live our life on our own terms. And just like that, your time is up. And that's crazy, right? So that's 8 years left to truly live your life the way that you want to, and that's only if you make it up to 79 years old. And I'm sure that some people might find this somewhat dramatic, but there's a reason why I'm sharing this with you. Because when I first heard about these statistics, it made me rethink everything. And I hope it does the same for you. Because there's nothing more dangerous than conforming to things that deep down don't make sense to you. But you know, realizing that there's supposedly only 8 years left to live my life the way that I want to didn't actually make me sad, because instead it motivated me and it opened my eyes. It's exactly why over the past 5 years I've reshaped my life to focus on what truly matters to me. So I'm extremely grateful I was confronted with this truth, because we can change things around for ourselves. So let's explore how. So first of all, you need to really realize that if you work a job that you love or you like, you earn back those 13 years I talked about. And when you cut out screen time, you earn back another 11 years. And this will leave you with 32 years of doing what you love, instead of the average 8 years that most people are left with. Now, it's important to realize that back then, using social media felt less addictive. But now, with the constant barrage of reels and TikToks, it's easy to get lost in a never-ending scroll, wasting precious days without even realizing it. And we know deep down what we should be doing. But there's this invisible pull towards mindless activities that don't contribute to our goals or happiness. And then this internal conflict often leads to guilt, the sense of not living up to our potential. And the irony, we try to escape this feeling by diving even deeper into distractions like TV and social media, trapping ourselves in a vicious cycle. And then it becomes dangerous, because this is where you start to blame the passing of time, the lack of focus, and your current situation on everything else but your own decisions. But the simple truth is that we're taught conformity from a very young age. And to conform is to orient our lives around the dominant norms, values, and ideals of our society. Conformity is what allows the boundaries and templates of our culture and what is considered normal and safe to shape our sense of self. It's exactly what most people are trapped in, and most people spend their lives trapped in. And if you're trapped in this, here's something profound that will change your perspective. Because when you talk to people facing the end of their life, their biggest regret often is the following: not having had the courage to live a life true to themselves. So have you ever wondered why some people are just wired differently? Why for some, the easiest path still feels wrong? So let's understand why and how you can become this type of person yourself. Because you have it in you. So a sign that you might be one of these people and how you can become one is if you find joy in the uncomfortable. Now, I think that's actually a good thing, because when it comes to it, comfort breeds complacency. So if you're constantly seeking new challenges, pushing boundaries, and stepping outside of your comfort zone, you're probably one of the rare few who thrives on discomfort. Now think about it. When was the last time you felt truly alive? I bet it was when you were conquering something tough. People like us and the person you want to become don't just deal with challenges. We actually chase them. For me, starting out a YouTube channel, going on expeditions, and running a business are some of the biggest challenges I've ever faced. These challenges were tough, but I enjoyed them, and they taught me a lot. It's like when you have a problem to solve, but it seems impossible. But then when you do it, it feels amazing. And that's what challenges do. Why do you, for example, think that an athlete, when they reach their goals, actually become less happy? It's because the journey is much more fun. Now, for this type of person and the person you want to become, your mission is the most important. For a while, I actually didn't have a mission and I felt lost during that period. And then finding my mission again changed everything for me. Now, over time, my mission has changed and it's now all about reading, learning, writing, and teaching while combining impact with videography, adventure, and business. But what's the most important thing is that my mission gave my life direction and purpose. So you need to ask yourself what your mission is and what drives you to get up every morning. So let's go over how you can find and determine your mission yourself. So I started better understanding myself when I began writing down my thoughts. And this is what allows you to become yourself again in a world where we conform. Now you need to try this and it might surprise you what you learn about yourself and your mission. And maybe you reconnect with the self that you've lost. Now, reading about great people helped me a ton too. You can, for example, read about the Stoics or modern inventors, and then their stories are full of lessons that will help you in your own lives. And it's also extremely important so that through their perspectives, you can stay rational. Then having mentors or friends who push you to do better is really important as well. They can help you see things differently and they can encourage you when things get tough. Now let's go over the next principle that is extremely important if you want to become this type of person. So have you ever sat down just thinking about where life has taken you? If you're still the person that you want to be or if you've changed. And I remember the very specific moment that I realized I was living a life designed by others. And it was during my late teens as I was working a job as a nurse. And as brave as I considered the career of taking care of others, it left me feeling utterly disconnected with myself. See, I realized that I was following a script written by societal norms, which was a safe narrative that promised comfort, but left me feeling empty of meaning. And I began to question everything. Was I at least doing what I loved, or was I just ticking off boxes? And the moment I stepped back and rechecked the roadmap laid out before me, I saw it for what it was. It was a generic guide, not tailored for my own unique journey. And I understood in that moment that what works for others might not work for me, and that is okay. So I stood at the crossroad of two paths. One of comfort, personal stagnation and passivity, and the other of genuine pride, challenge and personal growth. Now I won't lie, to break free from conformity felt like standing on the edge of a cliff, and it was both terrifying and exhilarating. And each step was like a mini rebellion against the normal. And this wasn't easy because my friends started questioning my choices and my family was worried I was losing my way. But with every challenge, I felt more myself, and most importantly, I felt more alive. And I remember telling my mom the following. I said to her that if I can achieve the salary of a 9-to-5 by 4 years, that I would continue. And you know what? We did that in 6 months. Now, as I said, the journey wasn't easy and a lot of things went wrong. But there's a thing about failure. It's a really good teacher. And then ultimately, you will have your successes. And these are achievements that taste sweeter because they're yours, not someone else's expectations fulfilled. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Because I believe that many of us are at this crossroad, contemplating their leap into the unknown. And if I could have helped my old self out, it would have changed everything for him, because he had no one to turn to. And many people out there right now are like that. And I want to tell you that it's okay to be scared. It's okay to question the path that you're on. And it's okay to fear the risk that you have to take. But what is not okay is ignoring your inner voice that screams for change, for growth, and for a life that is authentically yours. And now let's go over the last principle, which will help you to gradually do more of what you love. Now, there was a time when I felt like a passenger in my own story. It felt like I was cruising along a path that seemed to be laid out by someone else's expectations, not my expectations. But here's the thing about long-term goals. They are not entirely reachable in the immediate sense. And I learned this the hard way. I set these grand and ambitious targets, and soon the weight of them began to feel like mountains on my shoulders. The excitement started to give way to anxiety. The drive turned into dread. And why? Because I forgot about the short-term milestones. See, when you write down your long-term goals, you finally get a sense of direction that will guide you through your rebirth. But long-term goals are typically ambitious, and they require a significant amount of time and effort to achieve. And then without the roadmap provided by short-term goals, you will feel overwhelmed by the enormity of the task to come. And this will lead to increased stress and anxiety, as the path to achieving these long-term objectives may seem impossible at first. Now, human psychology is wired to appreciate immediate rewards. Long-term goals do not provide this frequent sense of achievement that short-term goals offer, because long-term goals actually often represent idealized outcomes. And without the grounding effect of short-term goals, there's a risk of setting unrealistic expectations for yourself. And then when these expectations are not met, it can lead to a significant disappointment and a sense of failure. So this might cause you to enter a psychological prison called failure effect, which will set you up for failure. Now, there are many more consequences of not setting short-term goals, but I think you get the point. And because of the danger of this, it's crucial that you balance long-term goals with short-term goals. So please do the following. Once you have established your long-term goals, let's say over 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, and 10 years, you need to start writing down your short-term milestones. Think about it weekly. And then regularly, you need to review and adjust your long-term goals, but your short-term goals as well if needed. Then the next thing you need to do is celebrate your small wins. But you also need to maintain a realistic perspective so you can avoid setting yourself up for failure. And all of this is how you can become the person that you need to become to take these risks. Now, I want to leave you with the quote at the end here. In the pursuit of distant dreams, we often overlook the power of the inches that we can walk today. The absence of short-term goals is the blueprint for long-term failure. So yeah, that was it, and I hope to see you in the next video.